back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
We are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport here on a thirsty Thursday. And today we have the Barnes and Michael show. How you doing, my friends?
Yo, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Feels like it's been a long time. Probably only been a couple of weeks, but it feels like it's been a couple months, Michael.
If I think it has in our hearts, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Big day today. Obviously, you know, the start of March Madness. So that's going to get underway shortly after noon. And we already have the Valspar Championship underway. And then today is 1 week till opening day. So excited for that. Got 3 fantasy drafts coming up this weekend, plus the TCA draft. That's definitely going to be coming up soon as well. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. So definitely, really excited about that. But before we get started, I already see Michael Butka in the comments as well as the one, the only Josh B.
Yes, we have Michael saying March Madness is here, baby. And then we have him saying, oh shoot, what's going on here? LFG, Lakers are roaring back. Beat down the Chicken Nuggets last night. I mean, they didn't have Luka or Jamal Murray, so calm down. Luka went crazy in that first quarter. And then Josh B saying, what up, fam? Thirsty Thursday. Can we just get the Knicks healthy and start the playoffs now? For what? To lose in the first round?
Wow. Everybody's tight today.
I guess.
The Lakers, the Knicks.
I mean, they're, people are a little ahead of themselves.
Better chance. Somebody has to have a chance.
Lakers.
Interesting.
Better chance than the Knicks.
I mean, Luka's playing well.
Yeah, but he's just such a liability defensively. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you have a stud on the other end, it's over.
Yeah. No, you just wonder if, obviously he's been in the league now already a while, but just, eventually, if he kind of really gets, ripped up and, starts playing defense. I mean, it's still possible. I mean, he's still got a long time left, but I guess we'll have to just see what happens there. But we do have, like I mentioned, the Valspar Championship underway right now. Your current leader, actually a Anthony Materiello favorite in Steven Yeager, 3 under par through his first 6 holes. So he has a 1-shot lead over a slew of golfers, including Nikolai Hogard, Keith Mitchell, Xander Schauffele, Jonathan Vegas, Sam Burns, Harry Hall, and Nico Echevarria. And then you also have a bunch of guys at 1 under, including Sepp Straka, Tom Kim, Gary Woodland, Joe Highsmith. That's really it. Notable wise at the 1 unders. Obviously, a lot of guys yet to tee off. Michael Kim's at even par through 9, started on the back. Mac Meisner, another Tony favorite here, is even through his first 8, and he also started on the back. Webb Simpson even through 7. Adam Scott even through 6. So looks like a beautiful day there in Palm Harbor, and we're gonna have golfers teeing up all the way up till 3:02. So should be a long day of golf, and with the time change, they get to play pretty late into the evening, which is nice to see. Right now, I have the PGA Tour live coverage on Xander Schauffele, 2 under right now. Looks like he's hitting his second shot here on the par 4 as he looks to go into the green, and off to a good start. And he's really looking to recapture his form. And of course, get into the winner's circle after missing the first couple months of the season, with an injury. I believe it was the wrist. So we'll take you into this shot here. Looks like we're 180 out, and he's 6 out of 6 in greens and regulation so far today. So we'll see what he does with this approach shot here. So we got ball in the air as he stares it down, and this is going to be on the green. Has a bit of work left there for Bird, probably 25 to 30 feet. But nevertheless, birdie opportunity is a birdie opportunity. And we had talked about Tommy Fleetwood yesterday. He's chipping on to the par 5 14th hole. His third shot gets some late life here. And this is actually looking real good. Almost had a chance to go in. But he's going to be left with about 4 feet there to get a birdie, which would bring him to even par. Sepp Straka also playing 16 here, 169 to the hole. Let's see what we got here. Ball in the air, and that is going to just stay on the back of the green, but he's got 30 feet plus there, and he's 1 under so far, and of course starting on the back 9. So we'll keep you posted, with that. But like I said, a beautiful day there at Innisbrook, and should be a great Valspar championship, and once again, Steven Yeager in the lead. Now, we mentioned today is the start of March Madness. Yesterday, we did have the 3rd and 4th games of the first 4, and we had a pretty good one between Xavier and Texas, the battle of the 11 seeds. Winner to play Mississippi, and Texas stormed out to an 8-point lead in the first half. But Xavier, as they've shown all season, kind of started slow, under Sean Miller this year, outscoring Texas by 14 in the second half there to earn the right to get to the first round of the NCAA tournament, winning 86 to 80. And they were led by Marcus Foster, who had 22 points, 8 of 9 from the field. And he also had 8 rebounds and, pretty balanced scoring attack. You had 4 other players in double figures, including Maddox Jr. with 10 off the bench, 15 from Fremantle, and 11 apiece from Conwell and Swain. So, definitely, an exciting game. And I think, Xavier is a dangerous team. I know they ended up finishing 4th in the Big East, and we're on the bubble for most, of the season. But I just think, you show resilience here. At one point, they were down 13 points in this game. So to come back and win it. And I think Sean Miller is a great coach, and, he's moved past, that 2-year, no show cause that he was levied for the recruiting violations at the University of Arizona. So congratulations to the Xavier Musketeers. And Tony hit this one right on the head. The battle of the 16 seeds. We saw Mount St. Mary's take out American University 83 to 72. So, always good when you have programs like this that, are going to be a 16th seed. And most likely, obviously, we've seen it happen a couple of times, but, history is going to show they don't really stand a chance in the first round of the tournament. So anytime you get a chance to win an NCAA tournament game, that's special. And they were led by Jetty Cordilla, who had 22.7 rebounds. Great game, 10 of 11 from the floor. Also had 7 rebounds. And then Dola Abadayo, no relation to Bam, a little bit of a different spelling there. 22 points, 4 rebounds, and he was 9 of 15 from the floor. And they also had Dallas Hobbs, who contributed 17. So kind of went by quick these last 2 days, the first 4. But it's always great, the first day of March Madness. And it's interesting. It used to be very different in terms of, the broadcast format, for the NCAA tournament. Everything used to be on CBS. It all used to be regionalized. So, and a lot of games would start at one time. Now, you have it where, you don't have any games starting exactly at the same time, but they are staggered starts. And then, with the addition of TBS, TNT, True TV, you're able to watch all the games. You used to have to pay for a March Madness on demand package. So definitely, we have a ton of good games here. And of course, we went over everything in our bracket yesterday. But leading off, we're going to have number 8 Louisville versus number 9 Creighton in the South region. Could be one of the best games of the day. So I'm excited to watch that one. That's going to be the CBS game. And then, you have a couple higher seeds in action following that. 12:40 on True TV, Purdue versus High Point. Purdue 7.5-point favorite there. Montana 16.5-point dog against Wisconsin. And then, you have Houston, the number 1 seed in action. And it's going to be interesting this year for Kelvin Sampson. He has gotten to one Final Four, of course, hasn't gotten over the hump to win a championship. But Houston's had a tremendous season. But, can they show that consistency throughout the tournament, get back to a Final Four, and possibly win a championship? It's going to start against SIU Edwardsville. That's a 2:00 game on TBS. Auburn, number 1 seed in the tournament here. Bruce Pearl, can he finally win a national championship? 32.5-point favorites against Alabama State. The 5-12 between Clemson and McNeese. Clemson 7.5-point favorite there. Their coach, Brad Browner, just signing that contract extension. And usually, you like to give these 12 seeds a shot. I just don't think in that game you're going to see that. You got the 4:05 on TNT, BYU VCU. That was one of our upset picks there. The line shows that they're expecting this to be close. BYU only favored by 2.5. Did have a strong finish to their season. The 8-9 between Gonzaga and Georgia, I think that'll be a great team. Georgia, one of the 14 teams from the SEC in the field. And Gonzaga right now 6.5-point favorites. And I know he hasn't gotten the job done, but every year that Mark Few, has been at Gonzaga, he's made the NCAA tournament, tons of Sweet 16s, a few Final Fours, national championship game appearances. So I like his pedigree there. The 2 seed Tennessee versus Wofford, 6:50 on TNT, 18.5-point favorites there. Another interesting matchup, 7-10. Kansas versus Arkansas, the battle of the 2 legendary coaches in Bill Self and John Calipari. Kansas favored by 5.5 there, but really didn't have, the vintage Kansas season. And it's crazy all those years in a row. I mean, I know it was well over 10 years that they won the Big 12, and this year 12 losses. That's very unlike a Kansas basketball team. So a lot of people like Arkansas plus 5.5 there. So it'll be interesting to see. They had a slow start to their season, but really came on late. I know Michael's favorite game of the day, the 13 seed Yale Bulldogs going up against Texas A&M. A&M 7.5-point favorites there. That's a 7:25 tip on TBS. And, we've seen Yale with, a couple upsets in the past. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hang in there, with Texas A&M, the Aggies. Speaking of upsets, a lot of people like Drake 30-3, the 11 seed against Missouri. Missouri 6.5-point favorites coming out of the SEC. That's 7:35 True TV. You got 9:25 UCLA versus Utah State. UCLA 5.5-point favorites there. In first year in the Big Ten. So going to be interesting to see how they face against, a mid-major team in Utah State, but one that was, competitive this year, 26-7. So, that could be a close game. I still like UCLA there. And then the Johnnies, Richard, what's he going to do? 18.5-point favorites against Omaha. This one's actually from Providence, Rhode Island, at Amica Mutual Pavilion. And St. John's 18.5 points favorite there. So expecting a blowout. And I think possibly what could be the most intriguing game of the day. It's a shame it's at 10 o'clock. A lot of us on the East Coast, won't be able to make it all the way through. But UC San Diego and Michigan, 12-5. Michigan only 2.5-point favorites despite, winning the Big Ten tournament. And UC San Diego, a great season, 30-4. That's one of our upset picks. So that's it. Like I said, a 10 o'clock tip on TBS. And then you finish it up with Texas Tech against UNC Wilmington, the 3 versus the 14. 14.5-point favorites, for Texas Tech. So tons of basketball today. Always a great day, the first day of the tournament. And there's going to be some type of big upset, some type of thing, showing that, 95% of brackets have been busted because of some result. We see it every year. And I know a lot of people, going into this tournament were saying, oh, there might not be as many upsets, but it seems like upsets, always seem to find the NCAA tournament. It's always exciting, and there's always going to be, some legend that is created, and that's what makes, March so special. You think back to last year, Oakland beating Kentucky. I mean, not many people had that on their brackets, and that was it for John Calipari in Kentucky. So you never know, what type of scenario you're going to get. So really, really looking forward to that. But if we could go now, Michael, to the world of Major League Baseball.
There's like a delay.
Oh, yeah.
What a play! Stop it! Yep. And Alonso cracks one of the Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Throw deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So, like we have been doing recently, Michael, I think it would be a good time to just start right away because you never know how long this is going to take. The immaculate grid. And if you could, just on our screen, go with the zoomed in. And I'll try my best to navigate. Very, very tough, these grids sometimes. But just taking a look here. So for Texas and the Mets, if you want to go, so click the that one, and put Julio Franco. So it's CO at the end. 2%. Okay, not bad. All right, and let's see what we got here.
You'll probably do better without Tony. So
no, Tony's always good for one or two. I mean, Ernie.
But then he makes you second guess, and
Ernie though. Shout out Ernie. I mean, he's self-named himself the Swami. He's been great. Always giving us the assists. Josh B too. Always giving us what he can. And I did see Kev Do was in the comments.
Yeah, he said, let's
go.
Yeah, let's go, Kev.
So you love to see that. All right, so we got first base here. Just trying to think here. So for first base for Phillies, so that would be the second one from the left middle column, top row.
Second one from the left top row.
If you could go Chase Utley. 0.6. That's how we do it. And then also for right next to that box on the right, if you could go Pedro
Martinez.
Yeah. 7%. Okay. And then also right down from Pedro, go Orlando Hernandez. I know a Michael favorite from back in the day. El Duque.
Yep.
0.5.
Look at you, Barnes. See?
Yeah. No, we could do it. All right here. So let's see. First base for the Mets. Just trying to think a little outside the box. Do for first base for the Mets, do Lucas Duda. 4%, not bad. And I did see too, we have JD in the house, and he says, good morning to the best show. So good to hear from JD. Josh B also riled saying JD grid. We just showed JD the grids, and he's been getting a kick out of it. I mean, it really, you know what I like about it, Michael? It's how as you get older, everybody wants to stay sharp, so they do their crossword puzzles and stuff.
This is
this is my crossword puzzle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you could just click back to right there. Thank you. All right here. So let's see. So we need first base and catcher. Okay. So yeah. So bottom middle, do Josh Phelps, and it's a PHELPS. I just happened to randomly think about that one. All right here. So really moving along pretty quick here. All right, so played one game catcher for Texas. All right, so Who's the guy? I'm just trying to think. There was somebody. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be so mad if this is wrong. Fuck. I think it was Rod Barajas. Just want to make sure that I get it right. And then also, okay, Texas, Philly. So, shortstop, catcher. Born outside the US. So for catcher, I don't know if this is. Just curious if I don't know. I was thinking maybe it was Ernie, but I don't know. 269 area code, Michael. Do you know if that's New Jersey?
I could check.
Oh, okay. No, that was definitely some spam stuff. All right. I'm gonna be pissed if this messes it up. But
why don't you do another one for right now?
Okay. Well, I know it's gonna be so high, but fuck it, I guess. All right. For Texas and Philly, do David Robertson. Oh, Ernie is in the building, but saying you're. Yeah, David Robertson, former Yankee great. Probably gonna be high, but it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. Ernie, just in time, buddy. So let's see. So catchers outside of the U.S. Just trying to think about this for a second.
For what team? Texas?
So this could be anybody, or played one game at catcher too. So that puts first basemen, and it is grid time, Ernie, and we really could use your help here. I've navigated what is it, 7 of the 9, and we're really looking pretty good here. I mean, only one player over 2% or 4%, excuse me.
What about that dude Molina?
Yeah. Okay.
Yadier.
But do it is Yadier, but do Jose Molina. So that would be bottom right.
Final answer.
Yep. 3%. Okay, Michael. This could be a record potentially. It's gotta be Ross. I'm just trying to think.
It's got to be a catcher outside the U.S.
No. So this is just a catcher for Texas, and it could be somebody also that played first base.
Oh, so it's for Texas.
You know, I think it's just one of those times where we just go for it, Michael. Go for the gold. It's Rod, R-O-D, and then B-A-R-A-J. Yep.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yep. $22. I think that ties my career low.
And this is like with or without Tony?
So this is my career low was solo, actually, because I actually was just going to check it really quick because I did send it to Ernie when it happened. But yeah, this stuff is great, and it's nice too. They have all of the older grids. Oh wow, it was a dead tie. What do you know about that? By myself, 22.
What's the lowest with Tony? Like 48?
No. We've been in the 20s or 30s. And I know Ernie, has been below 20. But yeah, always feel, a sense of accomplishment with the grids. And it's nice too. I feel like you, Michael, maybe like, you might get into this. I think if go to it for a second. I think if you go to the big version.
Yep.
And I think if you go up, let's see. Okay, yeah. So they do have it for basketball. So I could see that being something you get into, honestly, like a little like late night, like right before you knock out. I could see you getting into the NBA grids, honestly. Just like the competitive nature,
Hold on, someone's calling right now. We'll see if it's actually someone.
I feel like it's Ernie.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hold on. All right, you're live on the Sportsport.
Hello.
Here.
I told you. Ernie. What's going on,
So,
bro?
all right. So you got catchers that played outside the U.S.
It's already, you got it.
I completed it.
He got a 22.
A 20.
Oh my God.
Tying the
22
career
is
low.
solid.
And didn't get any help from anybody, Ernie. So
Yeah,
that's rare.
it's proof that Tony's the problem with this.
It could be. It could be that Tony's the problem. I mean, trusting a Mets decision anyway is kind of like, risky as it is.
Right.
So,
They don't really have much knowledge outside of the Mets.
And I
yeah,
feel
that's the problem.
Ernie, I feel like I had a couple snipes that maybe even you, I know you have like your wealth of knowledge here, but the last one I did was the catcher for Texas, Rod Barajas. I don't know if you remember him.
That actually is a very solid choice. I was going to give you catchers outside of the U.S. I was going to give you Yan Gomez. He's Brazilian.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I went.
Yan Gomes.
And actually,
Yan Gomes.
I actually lied. Michael did help me on the catcher out of the U.S. because he said Benji Molina, but I figured I'll go with Jose Molina. Or he said Yadier Molina. I said I might as well go with Jose, lesser known. But then the real snipe was the cross between the first baseman and catcher, Josh Phelps, 0.04%.
I wouldn't have got that one. That one might have hung me up. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have overthought it.
He was on the
I would have
Yankees.
100% overthought it.
I don't know if you remember him.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. You said a name that I had no. I don't even. I got it. I'm looking. I'm like, yeah, nope.
Oh man, dude, that's funny, man.
I had to dig deep for Yan Gomes. I was like, oh fuck, catcher.
Yes, dude. I know. Now that you say it, now that you say it, I do remember Yan Gomes. Yeah. Are you, any hype for you today with the tournament, or?
I mean, I can only be as hype. How much hyper can I get? Like after the North Carolina win, I mean, kind of shoving it in everybody's face, like, oh, you guys said that we weren't supposed to be here. And granted, I'm not an unrealistic fan in the mindset that I'm not saying North Carolina is going to win a tournament. I'm not saying that, but give us a shot, man. I mean, hey,
right.
Crazier things have happened. So it's like, I like where we're at. I like the bracket that we're in. We gotta see. It's nerve-wracking. This for me as a Tar Heel fan is more just like, it's almost like the Mets had last year. Like whatever happens is a win.
Playing with house money.
Playing with house money, because like you just didn't really expect us this year how we look to really make a run, but the way we've been playing these last month, we look pretty solid. So I'm excited to see what happens.
And actually, it's kind of crazy. Vegas agrees. So tomorrow, that game against Ole Miss is at 4:05 on TNT, but they actually have them as 1.5 point favorites.
Yeah, because like right now they look solid. Like I was telling JD in the chat the other day, I'm like, if we could play like this, we can beat anybody. And we almost beat Duke. So it's like, who knows what we could do in the tournament? I mean, like I said, crazier things have happened. So
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to watching that game. Did you do the TCA bracket?
No, I haven't done the TCA bracket.
Still got time. I mean, 12 o'clock deadline.
12 o'clock deadline. I'm about to hop in McDonald's to get some breakfast. I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, because I feel like then it makes like watching the game so much more fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do a bracket every year, but I'm usually like 20-30% right anyway. So we're gonna try to just build from last year.
Sounds like the rest of us. And then I was just gonna ask you real quick before you go. Any traction on the opening day tickets?
Well, here's the thing. My birthday's the 31st, right?
Yeah.
So my wife offered to take me and my daughter to a Yankee game that Sunday, which would be the day before my birthday. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what route I'm going to go. I still have no clue, but I have to make a decision by this week.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, I just got my tickets for opening day, and actually got right field. I think it's like section 108. So I'm kind of pumped. Right by Judge.
See, that's exactly that's where I want to go. So I'll see if I can get something for 108 then, if I decide to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I'll be in the section.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I'm riled too because last year I had one game in right field and that phony Juan Soto ended up tossing me a baseball. But hopefully Judge will do it this time so I can forget about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can wash the other ball, give it to your dog, use it for batting practice, whatever, you know.
When you go to the Mets game, you should just write on it and be like, F you, this is the ball you threw at me, and throw it back to him.
Throw it right back to him. Like, here you go, Soto. They be this in the Bronx. Take it in the Queens.
And then get banned from Citi Field. Oh, man, what a shame.
Oh, yeah, you love that. You give you an excuse.
Oh, no, I can no longer go to a Mets game for me.
Oh, shit, dude. But, yeah, no, I'm definitely real pumped. I can't believe opening day is a week away, so pretty stoked for sure. But yeah,
my prediction is Rodon goes 6 1/3, 1 earned run. We win 4-2.
Let's go. And then the immaculate inning from Devin Williams, the airbender to close it out.
Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful sight. This is gonna be really comfortable to see.
And really,
you know what? I might mess around, just go to opening day alone and still go to that game.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. You could meet up with us at Billy's before. I feel like it would be a wise decision.
Yeah, one could be family game, one could be friend game.
Yeah.
You know, I'll actually have a beer with you guys, even though I don't drink. I'll have an honorable beer with you guys.
You'll make an exception.
I mean, you got to.
Yeah, I'll make an exception.
And I was just thinking about it too. We're talking about Devin Williams. That 1-2 punch with Luke Weaver. I mean, that is going to be dynamite. It has to be the top combination in baseball.
It's going to be. We just have to hope that the New York bug doesn't hit Williams. I'm a firm believer that I like to hold my thoughts on new players until they have at least 2 to 3 months. Because it's very true. People say not everybody can play in New York. So I like to hold off on like even the big play like Fried, Bellinger, Goldie. I don't know how they're gonna handle playing in New York because New York is different. You slump for a month and you're gonna get a couple boos out there, and it takes a special person to accept those boos and be like, yeah, no, I'm playing like shit.
Yeah,
that's warranted. You know what I mean? So we just gotta wait. We just gotta wait to see these high value picks and players. They're real finicky when it comes to stuff like that. So we just gotta wait and see. But I hope that they got the moxie to play in New York, and we'll be good going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I feel real good about the season. So can't wait. And hopefully we could put opening day together with you. That'd be awesome. But as always, Ernie, thanks for calling in, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
No doubt, guys. Enjoy. Have a
Peace,
good day.
Dude. Have a good breakfast.
You too, man.
Peace.
The one, the only Ernie, or the Schwami, whatever you want to say, but an absolute legend. Josh B, bring him into the family. I mean, that's just what Josh B does.
Yeah, he's a family man.
And I see actually he has a couple comments here.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
that's interesting. He says, I got UNC to win it all at plus 28,000.
Yeah, so that's 20 or 280 to 1, which is insane.
You think he's gonna win?
I think actually I'm just trying to think about it. Is that 80,000?
Now he said it's down to plus 13,000.
13,000 because 1,300. Yeah, it's 280 to 1. I mean, listen, that is a long shot, but you put a couple shekels up there, Michael. You know the rest.
Yeah, right. Derpy saying Q one shining moment.
Anything there, Michael?
I'm not Tony. Tony would
searching though, you think?
I don't think so. I think he wants like a song.
Okay. Maybe
and then Jay Bird in here, as always, listening, not always talking, but I know he's always listening. And he says LMAO phony.
And I don't know if he's
reference to Mets, something Mets.
No, but I don't know if he's saying that because wait, first of all, did I say Soto was phony? Maybe I think so. I think that's what it was. But then also, I don't know if Jay heard yesterday. I was kind of like having fun with Tony. And I was like, because Jay, last couple of years, come on, all of a sudden, he's Mr. Met, basically.
I know, yeah.
And then I asked Tony if Jay, off the top of his head, could name 5 Mets. And he was like, oh, yeah. But then when I said 10, couldn't give me a yes on that. So
yeah, he's going to say yeah, and then like look on their roster right now and then type him in.
Yeah, Jay, if you want to prove yourself,
call in.
Yeah, you have to call in.
No
right
phone,
now,
don't
right
lie.
Now.
Do now.
Do right now, that means you're phony. So,
yeah.
I don't want to hear it, Jay.
Josh B. Belly played in LA though. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree with that point. And maybe if you want to say, well, Freed and Williams playing in smaller markets, with Atlanta and Milwaukee, respectively. But those are two guys that have pitched on the biggest stage, multiple time All-Stars. They've really, proven their worth, over the past couple of years. So really no hesitation there. I'm just really pumped. And like I said, it's just great that the season, is only 1 week away. In terms of the baseball on the diamond yesterday, the Yankees actually had a split squad. First game was actually in Clearwater, between the Yankees and the Phillies. They end up winning this game 9-7. Marcus Stroman getting the start here, as Renee, looking in from the door, riled up. Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, I usually don't go crew neck. Probably the first time ever on the show.
You look like Sportsport meets Gaming Corner.
And I look like Tony. I feel like Tony's a crew neck guy.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have to say this chair, very comfortable. Very comfortable.
You'll get used to it.
So Marcus Stroman, 3 scoreless innings yesterday, 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Yankees did a good job with the bats, 9 runs, 11 hits. Ben Rice, started out slow this spring, but he's really come along. He hit another home run yesterday, had 3 runs scored. And let's see, that was his 5th home run of the spring. He's slugging .609, and looks to get, the majority of the at-bats, against right-handed pitchers at DH. So great job by him. And he really offers the Yankees, with some roster versatility, which, they've always loved, just because the fact that he came up as a catcher, so he can catch, but he also plays first. And they're going to go, looks like with JC Escara as their backup catcher. So have 3 catchers on the roster, just in terms of like late game, pinch hitting, pinch running, and just, when guys need time off, you love to see that. And I mean, he did hit that 3 home run. He had that 3 home run game against Boston last year, really struggled afterwards, but I think, they have always liked him in the organization. And listen, this Stanton injury, opens up the door for that. What do we got from Jay here?
I'm at work, but off the dome. Juan Soto, Lindor, Alonso, Brett Barty, he said. Starling, Marte, Alvarez, Nimmo.
So I mean, with the spelling, what is that? 5?
Yeah.
Misspell 5. I mean,
doesn't count.
He did the bare minimum.
I mean, those are all the players that everybody knows.
Jason Libertelli, one of a kind. But also Jason Dominguez has really come on strong. He started out slow this spring. He actually went 3 for 4 yesterday. His spring average is up to 280, 520 slug, had 2 runs scored. So obviously the concerns with the defense, but the bat has been there. And that's all what we're excited about. We mentioned Cody Bellinger. He was 2 for 4. He's been unbelievable this spring, an 825 slug, 475 batting average, 2 for 4 yesterday, hitting his 3rd home run of the spring. So you love to see that. And then, thank you, means a lot.
I just love his photo.
And then, that is a classic. And then Jazz Chisholm, 2 for 3, 3 RBIs. And I believe that was his 2nd home run of the spring. Coincidentally enough, both of those coming at the Phillies. So, that was really it for the first game. Winans had been pitching well for the Yankees, but he ends up giving 4 runs over 3. And then the game against the Braves, they end up losing 4-0. But you did have yet another, strong performance out of Carlos Carrasco. And it's just so interesting. I mean, that's just how baseball works. And you almost don't want to believe it. When the spring starts, they're always like, there's going to be injuries. You're going to need guys that you think you're not going to need to count on. You're going to need to count on them. And it is so, pivotal to have depth in your starting rotation. And, let's face it, Carrasco is going to be in this rotation And it's really been, I mean, listen, it's spring, so let's see how April looks, provided, he's going to get a few starts here. But it really feels like another Matt Blake revitalization story here. He has a 169 earned run average this spring. And yesterday, against the Braves, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So, you love to see that. And the Braves did have some regulars in the lineup. Albies, Riley, Olson, and Michael Harris as well, Arcia. So I think that's impressive. And I really hope that this is, this isn't a long-term thing. We really probably only need him, for the first, couple months at most. But if he can just give us something, that's going to be so big, because you just want to weather the storm here, early in the season. It's going to get easier once Luis Gil comes back this summer. And you like what you've seen out of Will Warren as well. I think there is some question whether Clark Schmidt, will make that start that he's been talking about. I think it was the 6th game of the season. Because I know he's a little behind and obviously had the shoulder issue. So that'll be interesting. Otherwise, you're going to have to go with, Warren and Carrasco, along with Marcus Stroman to round out that rotation with Fried and Carlos Rodon, who we know is getting the opening day start, against Milwaukee. So, and then also, I mean, just offensively, I know, like Dave, I was listening to, always, everything is always, just like the sky is falling, questioning, the Yankees today, on DNR. A lot of questions, but I honestly feel so good about this lineup. And I know it's like, how could you say that the year after losing Soto? But I really think, and I've been saying it all off season long, but the growth of the guys from the farm system is really going to make or break this season. And one guy that's really been unbelievable this spring and really came out of nowhere, just in terms of, you didn't think he was going to be the leadoff hitter, but Austin Wells, he was 1 for 3 yesterday, 324 this spring, 622 slugs. He just been ripping the cover off the ball, and he was a former first round pick. I believe it was 2019 or 2020, actually. I think it was 2020. But regardless, we saw him have a really hot stretch last year and then tapered down the stretch. But in his first full season, as the Yankee catcher, I really think he's going to establish himself. I think he's a lock for 20 homers. And I think it's great that he's going to bat leadoff because, I know, he doesn't have the speed, you don't think about him as the leadoff hitter. But with Judge up, behind him, they're not going to want to walk him. So he's going to get pitches to hit. And I think that's going to be great. So he's definitely a breakout candidate. I love the way that Dominguez has looked as the spring has gone on. So that's really exciting. This is huge for Anthony Volpe. I know he hasn't had a great spring, has had a couple, individually, strong games, but this is a big year for him as well. And then as Waldo Cabrera, I know, the expectations are limited there, but he hasn't really had an opportunity in a while, in a couple seasons anyway, where he's getting, multiple starts in a row, playing the same position. I just think, we might see a different version out of him. So you think about all those guys, and then you couple the fact that Cody Bellinger, coming off a little bit of a down year last year, has just looked so comfortable. Whether it's and also, what you love too, the lineage, with his father, Clay, winning the World Series with the Yankees, the fact that he's always wanted to be a Yankee, and then that right field porch, I'm really excited about him. So, I just think, there's just a lot to be excited about. You don't have too many holes in the lineup. I'll give you, the third base situation until Cabrera or Peraza proves himself. Sure. But I just think there's depth. And I can't wait to get things going. That's for sure. So we're just going to take a look here. I believe that, we're back in action today. And yes, so we are 6:05, and this is actually going to be on the Gotham Sports app, but I'm sure everybody's going to be dialed into March Madness. I don't know how much viewing there's going to be on this, but maybe you have a couple TVs and then you just put this game on your phone. And surprisingly enough, a 6:05 game, you don't usually see this. The lineup is actually already out. But you're going to have a pitching matchup, and I just mentioned him before, of Will Warren, who's been the star of the show for the Yankees in spring training. Working on that changeup this offseason after really having a rough debut last year, but always was touted in the system. He's been 3-0, 287, 16 strikeouts, and he's going to go up against Tomoyuki Seguno, the right-hander from the Orioles, who's 2-0 this spring with a 0 ERA. And this is going to be at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota, Florida. And Baltimore does not have the lineup out, but the Yankees do. And they keep going. It's interesting with, a catcher leading off. And I know Rice doesn't always play catcher, but this game he is. So you got Rice, leading off at catcher, Judge in right field, Bellinger at first base, Dominguez in left, Jazz at second, Volpe at short, Oswaldo Cabrera at third base, Spencer Jones in center, and then you have Alex Jackson, who was brought in to be, the backup catcher, came over in that Fernando Cruz deal that we saw Jose Trevino go to the Reds, but he has not, impressed this spring. So, it seems like he's going to be on the outside looking in. I'm not sure what the minor league option situation is there. But overall, I mean, you have a pretty strong lineup in there. So it's nice to see as the spring goes on, more and more of these regular lineups, because that's what we're going to see 1 week from now. And actually, my parents are riled. They're going to the game this Sunday in Tampa, so leaving tomorrow. So they're really excited. Their first experience there at George Steinbrenner Field, and I can't wait to go back there as well. Obviously, that's going to be a ways away, but just was really impressed. That the job that they did, and just the intimate feeling that you get at a minor league ballpark, really is great. So a lot to look forward to, for sure. Yeah, so I guess now would be a good time, Michael, if we could go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here he comes. McDavid shoots. Top shelf. He scores. Captain with the overtime winner. That's the middle. That's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping. Rick Washington made the full split save.
Are you kidding me?
Turn. Side of the net. Between the legs, and they score. Filthy. David Pasternak. The silver trophy to the Golden Knights.
All right. And before we get into the hockey, just wanted to do a quick leaderboard update here. Keith Mitchell, the grizzled vet here, has taken the lead at Valspar, 4 under through 10, started in the back 9. So he's got a 1-shot lead over Yeager, who's been leading it. He's completed his front 9 now, as well as Harry Hall. And then, 2 back of the lead now, Jacob Bridgerman, -2 through 11, starting on the back. Mac Meisner, -2 through 11, starting on the back. And then you also have Sam Burns, who's looking to win his 3rd Valspar championship. He's 2 under through 8, also starting on the back 9. Hogard still at 2 under. He's through 10. Michael Kim picking up a birdie here to go to 1 under through 12. And then you have Peter Molinati, 1 under through 8. Gary Woodland, 1 under through 9. Tommy Fleetwood in red figures now at 1 under through 8. Joe Highsmith, the winner a couple weeks ago, 1 under through 6. And then former Masters champ Danny Willett even through 11 holes. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Last night on the ice, a very limited slate, only 2 games. And we saw the Maple Leafs, who are going to actually be in New York tonight to face the Rangers, win 2-1 against Colorado. So this is a game, me and Tony both figured it would be an over game. But we get 2 good, games out of the goaltenders here. Woll for Toronto picking up the win, 38 of 39. So really locking in. And you also had Austin Matthews finding the back of the net for what was his 27th goal of the year on a power play. And then Niskutinin for Colorado with his 18th. But Lorentz early in the third, the difference in this game, Steven Lorentz is 6th of the year on a shorthanded goal. So Toronto improving to 41, 24-3. Colorado dropping to 41, 25-3. But two teams with great records. And I think the bigger question, because obviously Colorado, won the championship a few years ago, but just what's going to happen in the postseason. In Toronto, they have just not been able to get there, but there is so much talent there. You feel like eventually it'll happen, especially with a guy like Austin Matthews. I mean, he's really the same thing in my eyes as Connor McDavid. And I feel like both of them are eventually going to win. Who's going to do it first? I mean, obviously McDavid's gotten closer. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year. So we'll have to see what happens. And speaking of good goaltending, Gustafsson from Minnesota last night, a 4-0 shutout of the Kraken. He was 34 of 34 in net, and a guy that me and Tony have been very high on, Matt Boldy for the Wild there. Had 2 goals. So he's been their best player all season long. They've had some injuries with Kaprizov, as well as Eriksson Ek at times this year. But he's stepped up in a big way. And, that was his 22nd, 23rd of the year, second one coming on an empty netter. And you also had Hartman and Ogren, picking up goals in this one as well. So Minnesota, who's been road warriors, kind of mediocre at home, but this was a home game now, 17-15-2 at home, 39-25-5 overall. And it's going to be interesting to see. They're kind of a sleeper team, come playoff time. I mean, I know, a lot of people aren't expecting them to win, but we've seen it before, years where, like for instance, the Blues. I mean, who had the Blues winning the cup, or even the rise of the Panthers? I mean, that happened really quick. And now, I mean, they are considered, one of the bigger juggernauts in the league. So you really, never know, what you're going to get. And that's what makes, the Stanley Cup playoffs so much fun. And unfortunately, the way that they've been playing recently, the New York Rangers, like I said, who are going to be hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs this evening, don't look like they're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, with 13 games left, anything can happen here, but just have not been playing good hockey. And, I was there firsthand for the Flames game on Tuesday, and it's just been missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And you really just get the sense, and you hate to say it, as a fan, but just simply that the guys, at least not enough of the guys, want to win. You just see bad fundamentals left and right, and just not that sense of urgency that you should see from a team that needs to treat every game like their last. And they're only 1 point out in the wild card against Montreal, but Montreal with the game in hand. And then also you got 2 teams that are, or 3 teams that are only 2 points behind you. 2 of them have 2 games in hand. So that's why it's like, you really have to win. And this is a tough game against Toronto. And surprisingly, they're favored at -130. Which I honestly, the way that they've been playing, I don't agree with. I know the whole thing, the back-to-back, but we just saw the Flames on a back-to-back come into Madison Square Garden and really dominate the Rangers. I mean, they only had 13 shots on goal. So I think that's going to be the key for this game. Just getting pucks to the net. You can't have this lackadaisical, unorganized, type of offense against a team like Toronto. You're going to get smacked in the mouth. So cautiously optimistic here, just because it feels like, we've reached rock bottom, but then again, who really knows? But like I said, there are a lot of games tonight. So if we could, Michael, do a Thursday edition of the Frozen Frenzy. So we'll need the pipes clear for this one. A lot more games than we had last night. But looking at the schedule here, first game up here, 7:00 between the Avalanche and the Senators. Right now, you have Colorado here, slight favorites at -115, playing on a back-to-back, of course. Senators -105, total set at 5.5. Even though it's a back-to-back, I do like Colorado here. I think the depth of that team, I mean, me and Tony talk about them all the time, but just the greatness of Cale Makar, not to mention McKinnon and Niskuchikin. They just have so many playmakers on this team. So I would say, give me the Avs. I think high scoring tonight. We had the low scoring surprise last night. I'm going to say they win 5-3. So give me the Avalanche and the over in game number 1. Game number 2 here. We have the Devils hosting the Flames. Devils right now -175. Calgary +150. Listen, I like the way that they looked, against the Rangers. Very hyped up. Kadri, who scored the goal. I think Rick was referencing it this morning. Just jumping up in the air after scoring. I mean, the excitement's there. The Flames battling for the playoffs. I think they get the job done. And Jonathan Huberdeau, excuse me, has had, a resurgence season. I could see him with 3 points in this one, a goal and 2 assists. And the Flames taking on the Devils 3-1. So that'd be the Flames and the under. In the game that we all have circled here, Madison Square Garden, the Rangers, the Maple Leafs. The total here set at 5.5. Rangers slight favorites -130. Toronto +110. I'm going to do it one more time, and otherwise I'm going to have to start picking against the Rangers because it's just getting ridiculous here. But I'm just guessing sense of urgency, really knowing that they need to win as many games as possible here to have a shot. I think a high-scoring game, Maple Leafs back-to-back, Rangers finally really, making offense a point of emphasis here. I think a 5-3 victory. Give Artie 2 goals and an assist for 3 points there. Let's go Rangers in the over. Next game up, 7 o'clock, Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. The Capitals, -240 favorites here. Philly, +200. Capitals have been one of the best teams all season long. Ovechkin closing in on Wayne Gretzky's goal record. I think this is a blowout, and I don't know how Torch survives. It's just been a rough couple seasons there in Philadelphia. But I think it's 6-1 Capitals. Give me the Capitals in the over. Give Ovechkin 2 points, a goal and an assist. Another 7 o'clock game here. Last one of the night. Blue Jackets hosting the Panthers. Blue Jackets +155. Panthers -185. And then the total on this game is set at 5.5. I like the over here, and I like the Panthers. Give me the better team. I know the Blue Jackets have been a good story. Not many people expected much out of them, especially after the tragic, passing of Johnny Gaudreau. That was a big loss for them, but they've really been resilient this year. Great at home, 29-4. But I just think a step up in competition with the Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers win this one 5-2. Give me the Panthers in the over. And I'd say Sam Reinhart, who has 72 points this year, with 2 goals in this one. 7:30 UBS Arena, the Islanders against the Canadiens. Isles 31-28-8, just behind the Rangers in this wild card race, hanging on for dear life. In the battle of 2 former players here, Marty St. Louis, the head coach of the Canadiens, Patrick Waugh, the coach of the Islanders. Good last time out, but I give me the Canadiens. I think the Islanders have shown us the last couple of years. If there's one thing you can count on, it's not to count on the Islanders. So I think the Canadiens win this game. I'm going to say 3-2 in overtime. Suzuki, the game winner. Canadiens in the under. 7:30, St. Louis, the Blues hosting the Canucks. The Blues have been playing well. 34-28-7. Canucks 32-25-11. St. Louis -140. Vancouver +120. I usually would take the Canucks here, but I like the way the Blues have been playing. Kyrie's had a nice year, 29 goals, 29 assists. Let's make him a part of the 30-30 club here. And I think a defensive game, 3-2 Blues. Kyrou with a goal and an assist to get there. Ducks and Predators, 8 o'clock, coming from Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville -170, Anaheim +145. This is a Duck spot for me. I know, they've been somewhat struggling recently, inconsistent anyway. Predators have not had a good year. I know they've rebounded from the lulls of earlier this year. But give me the Ducks here. Give me Troy Terry, with 2 goals and an assist here. I'm going to say 4-2. And I just want to check in here. I believe this is going to be a 5.5 point total here. I just wanted to double check, and it's going to be 5.5. So give me the Ducks in the over. Lightning Stars, 8 o'clock. And right now, the Stars, who've been great at home, 25-7, -125. Tampa, plus 105 here. This is interesting. I've liked Tampa all season long, but the Stars now, with getting Rantanen, I think that's huge. With Duchesne, I mean, there's just so much power on this team. Even though they've struggled, they've lost 2 out of their last 3. Lightning have only won 2 out of their last 5. And if you look at it too, so far this season, back in November, the Stars won 4-2. But give me the Stars here. I'm going to say a higher scoring game, but I'm going to say 5-4. So that would be the Stars and the over. Moving along here, 8:30 now in Chicago. Kings, Blackhawks. Kings, great at home. I think one of the best records in the league, if not the best. Mediocre on the road, though, 13-8-5. Blackhawks have been mediocre all year, 20-39-9. That's why they're plus 220 at home. But give me the Kings. I don't care about the poor record at home or on the road, excuse me. The Blackhawks are just a mess. Bedard is going to need something to change or he's going to get out. So I think Kempe, Byfield, put them in for points here. I'm going to say give me the Kings winning this one 5-2. So it's going to be Kings in the over. 9 o'clock, Edmonton, the Battle of Canada, as Tony would say. Jets, Oilers, McDavid locked in. -125. Draisaitl looking for that 50th goal of the year. I think he gets it. I think a close game, though. Skinner and Hellebuck, respectively, doing what they can in net. But I think the Oilers win 3-2. Draisaitl's 50th is the game winner with 1:50 on the clock. So it's going to be the Oilers in the under. Also at 9 o'clock, the Sabres, Utah Hockey Club. Sabres right now, plus 150 on the road. Utah -175, hanging in there. Their first year in Utah after moving from Arizona, over 500 at 30-27, but 11 overtime losses. Recent play here, Sabres have won 3 out of 4. Utah has actually lost 3 out of 5. And when these two teams played back in December, Utah winning 5-2. I like Utah again here. I think a close game. I know the Buffalo's been playing well. Better team, though, I think gets the job done. I'm going to say lower scoring this time. Give me Utah winning 3-2. So that's going to be Utah and the under. 2 games left, 10 o'clock from Vegas. The Golden Knights, -275, going up against the Bruins, who are plus 225. And I love the Knights at home. And I think the Bruins just have not played well this year. And I'm not expecting any difference here. Knights 24-7-3 at home. So I think this is a decisive win. I'm going to say 5-0. Eichel, 80 points this year. Give him 2 goals and 2 assists. And the Knights get their 40th win of the year. Knights in the under. Last game, the Sharks hosting the Hurricanes here. Plus 280 at home here. Hurricanes -360. Yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, Macklin Celebrini's been great this year. Other than that, not much to be excited about for the Sharks. So I think a dominant performance here for the Hurricanes. I'm going to say 5-1, which is going to be the Hurricanes and the over. And just like that, that is your Thursday edition of the Frozen Frenzy. So, a lot of hockey games out. Like I said, Rangers with 13 games left. Obviously, most teams in the same boat. Interested to see, who gets in, what the playoff matchups are. And we know, it's going to be a fascinating, Stanley Cup playoffs. Another update here from Valspar. Keith Mitchell picking up another birdie here to get to 5 under through 11. 2-shot lead now. Andrew Putnam has joined Hall and Yeager at -3 here. So they're all 2 shots back, and Mitchell through 11, Yeager through 10, Hall and Putnam through 9 and 7, respectively. Mac Miser still at 2 under, Xander Schauffele still at 2 under, Sam Burns still at 2 under. So some firepower here at the top. I'm interested to see how Xander plays in this tournament because more than anything, after winning 2 majors last year, he'd love to add a third to get 3 out of 4 of the career Grand Slam in Augusta. He just birdied the par 5 number 1, obviously starting on the back. So Let's see what the world number 2 here does. But I think it's going to be a great tournament, and obviously, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. 2 other baseball things I forgot to mention. Kind of a nostalgic type of move here. The Braves bringing back Craig Kimbrell on a minor league deal. Really faltered last year with the Orioles, and it's crazy because you think back to Kimbrell when he first started. I mean, he was one of the most dominant relievers, having that off-speed pitch and then the fastball 100 up and in, the consistency, the intensity, but just has not found any consistency recently. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to hang in there with the Braves. But minor league deal, so no risk there. And then the Rangers, this speaks to how much they're dealing with these injuries. Signing Patrick Corbin to a 1-year, $1.1 million deal. And they just had to put John Gray on the 60-day IL. Kobe D. Bradford was shut down from throwing last week. So, you just have a lot of guys, who are coming back from injuries. You need a veteran arm, and they go with Corbin. And listen, I'm just interested to see him in a new spot. But his national tenure, I mean, you want to talk about, one of the most disappointing tenures for a free agent pitcher that you could imagine. And it's crazy too. It wasn't an injury thing. I mean, he almost made all of his starts every year, 33 starts, 11 in the COVID season, 31, 31, 32, 32. But after a 3.25 ERA in his first year in Washington, his ERA after that 4.66, 5.82, 6.31, 5.20, 5.62, and just routinely giving up way more hits than innings pitched. Last year, an example, 208 over 174 in 2/3 innings. So, we'll see if they can find lightning in a bottle, and they look to return to contention. 2 years ago, the World Series champs missed the playoffs last year. And I think a big thing is, what's DeGrom going to give him? He's barely pitched since he signed that free agent contract with Texas. So this is a big year for him. So it'll be interesting to see. We know the offense is there. What the pitching is going to do, that's the question. Other than that, you do have, and I believe they actually just played last night as well. I think lost to the Spurs, if I'm not mistaken, but the Knicks back in action in Charlotte to take on the Hornets here. So you would think anyway, with the Hornets only 17 wins this season, this would be, a bounce back spot. Obviously still waiting. And that was, yes, against the Spurs, losing 120 to 105 last night. This would be a bounce back spot despite, Brunson being injured. But of course, I mean, regardless of a win or a loss here, the focus for all fans is what they're going to do on the postseason. But I would imagine a 17-51 Charlotte team, I don't think there should be too much of a struggle here. So, I mean, 7.5, it almost seems a little light. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning by 25. So, they're in action tonight. We saw Michael Bucca mention it before. The Lakers taking out the Nuggets. I guess, Murray and Jokic weren't playing last night. They're actually back in action, though. The Lakers are tonight against the Bucks. 43-25. The Lakers now are in sole possession of third place in the West. And then you're playing the Bucks 38-30, 14-18. Interesting that they are that is the Bucks favored in this one by 3.5. Just wanted to see if they were projecting Giannis to play here. You never know, with these injury situations. And I just kind of interested what you think, Michael. I heard I think Rick and Dave were talking about this morning, but I think you've always liked him, but possibility of Giannis coming to New York in the offseason. What were your thoughts there?
That'd be nice.
I mean, right? I mean, I feel like he's the type of guy you like, hardworking, no nonsense. And they were saying, some package, involving Towns, would be the way to go.
See ya.
But because it just they're in their forecasting, I guess we haven't seen, but you would think it's just been, and I know they did what they could. They bring in Damian Lillard, but it's just been a downward trajectory since that championship team. And I think one of the biggest things, and I know it's different now. Now it's years later, he's older, but getting rid of Drew Holiday so quick, I think that was the beginning of the end. They really, I don't think, valued the defense enough.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
And it just feels like when you have a guy like Giannis, I mean, as an organization, I don't care what organization it is, you should be winning 3, 4, 5 type of titles, I mean, and obviously he's still young. What's he, 29, 30 years old. But the time is now, and you have to question, if he's run out of patience. So I think that's going to be an interesting story to monitor. And yeah, he is 30, will turn 31 at the end of this year. And I know I've asked you this before, but obviously things change. What are you kind of thinking for NBA Finals?
NBA Finals. Let me think. I mean, the West, someone from the West to win it, between Denver, OKC, even I'll throw the Lakers in there. Trying to think who else right now.
I mean, Houston's up there, but
I don't trust
Golden
them.
State with Jimmy.
Yeah, Golden State, I could see making a magical run.
Cleveland have enough, or
Cleveland? I think Cleveland's my East.
Cleveland, wow. Versus Boston, Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
That would be something. I would like to see Cleveland.
Cleveland coming out on top.
Yeah,
and then it would be cool to see LeBron try to beat the Cavs.
That would be crazy. If that happened. And it really might. I just think it depends on where the Lakers end up finishing, because right now you think about the 3rd seed, so they would play Golden State the first round. That's not an easy matchup, and they've had trouble in the first round before. You think back to them losing to Phoenix a couple years ago, losing to Denver last year. So that's not the best draw. I think they would almost be better served being the 4th seed, and then matching up with Memphis. I think that would be a better matchup for them, because it just, I don't know, it's weird. And it's not like he's been dropping 45 points a game or anything, but the effect that Jimmy Butler has had in the Warriors, it just seems like they've really found themselves after having a big lull during the regular season.
100%. No, he brings that. He definitely has changed them.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, this is just an exciting, time in sports, really just at the stretch run. And then you couple that, with the beginning of the season, with baseball, and best time of year. And not to mention, it seems like, we talked about it so long ago at the top of the show here, but today is the start of March Madness. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of crazy finishes here. And then, one other thing, the Celtics selling for $6.1 billion. So I know they had been talking about that deal for the Wild, and I don't think any relation to Jazz, but Bill Chisholm buying the Celtics here, managing partner at Symphony Technology Group. And it's just amazing. And I guess, the record was $6.05 billion by Josh Harris for the Commanders. But how you could buy something for that much money and there's going to be that much of a return, especially for a league that we feel like is in decline. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He might just be a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. So that's really where we're at. But definitely, a great show today. Great having Michael back in the saddle. And as we get closer to the weekend, have a great show coming up tomorrow. Obviously, recapping the March Madness, the Rangers, the golf, as well as looking ahead to March Madness over the weekend. And of course, as always, talking some baseball. But we really appreciate everybody who tuned in today and continues to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay in costume, the merch at DowntimeTV.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.